going to be. People are going to criticize you. People are going to praise you no matter what it is when you're playing on this level and you have this type of spotlight, whether it's me, whether...
When Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA, the hype wasn't just real, it was historic. She wasn't merely another promising rookie. She was a seismic force that single-handedly shifted the attention of sports fans, networks, and brands to a league that had long struggled for visibility. She was the spark, the golden ticket, the game changer. And yet, as this transformative talent finally found herself in the pros, blazing trails with logo threes and record-breaking viewership, something unthinkable started to happen. She wasn't being elevated. She was being held back by none other than her own head coach, Stephanie White. Let that sink in. The same Caitlin Clark who shattered NCAA records, whose deep threes became appointment television, who put butts in seats in every arena she stepped foot in, was suddenly being told not to do the very thing that made her great. In a game where she dropped 5 three-pointers in the first half, with the arena roaring and her confidence soaring, something changed. The heat was there. The rhythm was perfect. But then, the shots stopped coming, not because she went cold, but because Stephanie White reined her in. It was baffling to watch. Fans on social media were stunned. Announcers went quiet. Basketball minds shook their heads in disbelief. You don't cool off your star player when she's on fire. You ride that wave all the way to the buzzer. Not yet. Stephanie White, in her commitment to a system-first style, chose to silence the flame. Caitlin didn't guess. She knew. She even admitted that when she hits 2 or 3 in a row, she wants to fire the next one even if it's not the so-called smart shot. Because that's what elite scorers do. They don't wait for the perfect play. They're the perfect play. And that's the tragedy unfolding in Indiana. Stephanie White is not just mismanaging a player, she's mismanaging the player, the very reason the Indiana Fever are on national TV, the reason jersey sales are through the roof, the reason millions of new fans are tuning in. Clark is a generational talent being squeezed into a motion-heavy offense that's allergic to pace, allergic to freedom, allergic to everything that made her Caitlin Clark. This isn't just about one bad decision. It's a pattern, philosophy, that prioritizes a rigid system over instinctual brilliance. White's offense relies on average decision-makers making elite reads, slows the tempo, packs the paint, and neutralizes the one player on the floor capable of breaking the game. Open every time she crosses half-court, it's not just ineffective, it's sabotaging. Stephanie White's entire approach screams team basketball, but in doing so, it's forgetting one critical truth. Great teams are built around their stars, not in spite of them. Caitlin isn't just any player to fit into a system, she is the system. And yet she's being asked to play like someone else, to tone it down, to defer, to become more like Sue Bird. When the whole world tuned in to see the next Steph Curry, fans didn't fall in love with Clark's game because she passed it off and set backdoor screens. They fell in love with her heat checks, her no-look dimes, her gutsy impossible, how did shot Evan think of that shots? But instead of unleashing her, Stephanie White is busy putting a lid on the bottle, afraid of what might happen if Caitlin truly lets loose. And this is what's so frustrating. The Fever had the chance to build around her, to draft her longtime college teammate Kate Martins, someone who knew Caitlin's game intimately, who could help her thrive. Instead, they passed. On draft night, fans waited, hoping Indiana would build around Caitlin's needs, her rhythm, her comfort zone. But they didn't. They picked players who didn't last the season, missing the opportunity to foster chemistry and continuity for their most important player. That's not just a bad draft strategy, it's organizational malpractice. What's happening to Caitlin Clark in Indiana is nothing short of sabotage masked as structure. A coach who sees the WNBA as a place where egos are flattened and stars are molded to fit into systems, not systems tailored to stars. But Clark doesn't thrive in a box. She was never built for containment. She plays on instinct, confidence, and raw electricity. And every time Stephanie White pulls her aside and tells her to play within the system, she's not just killing a possession, she's draining the magic out of the WNBA's biggest draw. It's not just Caitlin who's losing. It's the league. Because when she stops shooting, fans stop cheering. When she looks hesitant, viewers tune out. Ticket prices drop. Ratings slide. That's not an exaggeration. It's measurable. In games where Caitlin Clark is limited or absent, ticket prices have dropped by as much as 50%. That's not myth. That's business. And it's being choked out by a coach too focused on control and not nearly focused enough on what actually wins hearts, minds, and games. Stephanie White doesn't seem to realize that the league she's coaching in is evolving. Caitlin Clark is at the center of that evolution. You don't put a Ferrari on a dirt road and complain about the bumps. You pave a lane and let it fly. And yet here we are, watching a once-in-a-lifetime player second-guess herself because she's being told to. Even worse, there's a growing sentiment that Stephanie White's refusal to unleash Caitlin Clark is personal. Fans feel it. Analysts sense it. When Clark is thriving and suddenly goes quiet, and not from foul trouble, not from fatigue, but from the coach's bench, whispers people. Notice they're not stupid. They're watching a star being dimmed on purpose. Whether it's about control, philosophy, or pride. One thing is crystal clear. Stephanie White is not the right coach for Caitlin Clark. And when fans start to realize that their favorite player is being restricted, reined in, or outright sidelined. In key moments, they don't just complain, they walk. Stop watching. They stop buying tickets. Stop investing. Caitlin Clark brought an entirely new audience to the WNBA. And now that audience is being asked to accept a version of Clark that is dull, hesitant, and muzzled. That's not the Caitlin they fell in love with. And it's certainly not the Caitlin they're paying to see. She didn't break scoring records, draw millions of viewers, and sell out arenas to become a cog in a motion offense. She came to the league to lead, to light it up, to bring joy, energy, and excitement to a game that desperately needed a jolt. And every time she's told to slow it down, to play within the system, to take fewer shots, that energy dies just a little more. This isn't just about stats. It's about identity. Caitlin Clark's greatness isn't just in the numbers, it's in the way she plays. The joy, the swagger, the fire. You can't coach that out of someone without paying a price. And that price might be the very fan base. The WNBA has finally been able to build thanks to her. There are 13 head coaches in the WNBA, 12 of them. When Clark hits back-to-back threes, want her to shoot the third. Only one is putting out the fire. Only one is dimming the lights on the league's brightest star. That one is standing courtside in Indiana. If Stephanie White can't see what she has, then the Fever front office better step in and fix it, because the fans already have. They see what's happening, but they know Caitlin's being misused. And if it continues, the momentum she brought to the league will vanish. Not because the game changed, but because the league refused to. So if you believe Caitlin Clark deserves to play her game unleashed, unfiltered and unapologetically bold, drop a 100% in the comments. Let her play, let her lead, let her be who she was born to be, because greatness doesn't happen in a cage. It happens when you give it the room to soar. And right now, Caitlin Clark deserves wings, not chains.